The stars outside the ship's window looked calm, but inside the Earthship horizon, everyone moved with tension. The message from the Galactic Concord had shocked the entire planet. Earth was not part of the Concord, but now the galaxy had noticed them. Strange activity, fast-growing technology, and battles in deep space had made the alien powers nervous. The Concord had sent a message. They demanded answers from Earth. They wanted to know what Earth was doing out in space, why Earth had built strong ships, and why no one knew how far humans had spread. It was not a friendly message. It was more like a warning. On Earth, many leaders sat together talking about what to do. Some wanted to send a trained diplomat. Others wanted to ignore the call, but finally, the United Nations Defense Council made a bold choice. They decided to send someone who would not lie, someone who spoke with actions more than words. They sent a Marine. Gunnery Sergeant Kyle Brooks was the man they picked. He was not tall or loud, but he had something stronger, presence. Kyle had fought in the Mars Rebellion, helped during the Europa rescue missions, and survived the asteroid war. He had medals, but he never talked about them. He believed in doing his job and doing it well. When he got the message that he would be Earth's voice, he said nothing at first. He just nodded and started to pack. No weapons, no armor, this was a peace mission, they told him. Still, Kyle knew something didn't feel right. If these aliens were anything like humans, they didn't call meetings just to talk. The trip to the meeting place took 4 days. Kyle sat alone most of the time, reading reports about the alien species in the Concord. There were insect-like beings, tall blue-skinned ones with 4 arms, and others who looked like they were made of stone. Each race had its own way of thinking, its own rules. Kyle didn't care much for politics, but he understood one thing: respect had to be earned. The meeting place was a massive station called the Galactic Spire. It floated in space near a gas giant named Trevaros. The spire was not beautiful. It was built like a fortress, with walls of black metal and sharp towers that pointed in all directions. Kyle's ship docked at one of the many bays, and he stepped out alone. Guards waited for him, dressed in silver suits. They were not friendly. They scanned him and took away his bag, even though it only had clothes. They led him through long halls filled with strange lights and cold air. Kyle kept walking, his boots echoing on the hard floor. Finally, they reached a round chamber. The ceiling was high and the walls glowed with soft blue lights. Around a large table sat over 20 alien leaders. Some looked bored, others angry. None looked happy to see him. He stood in the center of the room. Nobody offered him a seat. An alien with green skin and eyes like mirrors spoke first. His voice was smooth but full of judgment. "We expected a representative of government. We received a weapon." Kyle looked at him calmly. "I'm not a weapon. I'm a Marine. You wanted truth. So they sent someone who doesn't lie." The room became quiet. Some aliens whispered to each other in their own languages. Kyle stood still. He didn't smile. He didn't try to charm anyone. Another alien, taller, and with a long neck, leaned forward. "Human ships have attacked pirate fleets. Your people have taken over 3 unclaimed sectors." "Why?" Kyle kept his voice steady. "Because no one else stopped the pirates. We saw people suffering and did something about it. As for the sectors, they were empty. Now they're safe." "Safe for whom?" the green alien asked again. "For anyone who doesn't harm others," Kyle answered. A few delegates looked thoughtful now. One, who looked like a small bird in robes, tilted her head. "You speak plainly. That is rare among us." Kyle nodded once. "We don't have time for games. Earth isn't here to take. We're here to survive." The room stayed quiet for a few seconds. Then a sharp sound rang from a corner. Another alien entered the chamber. This one had 4 legs and a glowing crystal in its chest. "The human is not what I expected," it said. "He doesn't beg. He doesn't brag. Maybe there is more to Earth than we thought." The green alien didn't look pleased, but he nodded slowly. "We will listen. You may speak tomorrow. For now, return to your quarters." Guards stepped forward again, but this time they were less strict. Kyle followed them without a word. As he walked through the station, he looked out the windows. So many stars, So many worlds. All watching Earth now. He knew tomorrow would not be easy. But that was fine. He had been through worse. Kyle sat in a quiet room inside the Galactic spire. The walls were smooth and silver, the lights dim and cold. There was no bed, just a flat surface to lie on. No windows, no screens. Just silence, but Kyle did not mind. He had slept in worse places: dust storms on Mars, ice tunnels on Europa, and once inside a broken escape pod for 2 nights. He sat on the floor with his back to the wall. He thought about the meeting. The aliens had looked at him like a problem, not a person, but that was fine. He was not here to make friends. He was here to tell the truth. Early the next day, the door opened without warning. A different group of guards stood outside. These ones looked more nervous. One of them, a tall creature with 6 fingers, handed him a simple robe. Kyle put it on over his uniform. It looked strange, but he didn't care. They led him back through the long hallways. The station was full of activity now. Small groups of aliens moved around, whispering, watching him with wide eyes. Some looked scared, some looked angry. A few looked curious. They reached the same round chamber. The alien leaders were already seated. The room was brighter this time, and more crowded. New faces were there, observers, maybe. Kyle walked to the center of the room again. This time, someone brought a chair for him. He stayed standing. An alien spoke, the one with the crystal in its chest. "You may now explain your people's actions." "Speak clearly." Kyle nodded once. "I will speak. But I won't explain everything. Not because we hide something, but because some things need to be seen, not told." There was a quiet pause, then Kyle began. He told them about Earth's history. Not just the victories, but the dark times too. Wars between nations, times when people hurt each other, times when leaders failed. He talked about mistakes and lessons. He told them about the day Earth made contact with aliens for the first time. A small scout ship came near Neptune. No words were shared. It just watched and left. That day, Earth knew it was no longer alone. Kyle told them about the Martian colony attack 5 years later. Strange ships came out of deep space and took people. Over 200 humans vanished. There was no message, no reason given. Earth asked the Concorde for help. No answer ever came. So Earth stopped asking. They built faster ships. They trained harder soldiers. They explored deeper into space and made maps of places no one claimed. They found pirates, slavers, and monsters. In the dark, and they fought back. Kyle looked around the room. We did not wait for help. We became our own help. A soft sound came from one side of the room. An alien with blue skin and small horns leaned forward. "You say Earth fights to protect others? Yet you build war fleets. That looks like fear, not kindness." Kyle met his eyes. "It is both. We are kind to those in need. But we are dangerous to those who harm." Another alien spoke, a small one with many eyes. "Why not ask for peace? Why build guns instead of trust?" Kyle answered, "Because when we asked before, we got silence, so we stopped asking. We made sure the next time someone hurt us, we could stop them." There was quiet again. The room felt heavy. Then a younger alien with soft green scales and a voice like wind said, "But what does Earth want? What is your goal?" Kyle thought for a second. Then he said, "We want peace. But not the kind that is quiet because everyone is scared. We want the kind that comes from safety. Real peace only happens when bad people know they will not win." That answer made some aliens nod slowly. Others still looked unsure. The green alien from the first day spoke again. "You humans are strange. You mix kindness with fire." Kyle said, "Maybe, but we keep our promises, and we remember our dead. That's why we never stop trying to make things better. Even if we fail, we keep going." The alien with the crystal said, "You speak with passion, but words are easy. What proof do we have that Earth is not simply hungry for more?" Kyle didn't move. He just said, "Look at the places we've gone. Ask the people we helped. We didn't take their worlds. We helped rebuild them." A few delegates opened files in front of them. Small floating screens appeared showing reports and images. Some showed human ships giving supplies. Some showed Terran medics helping wounded from other species. One even showed a group of human engineers fixing a broken water system on a dry moon. Kyle watched them carefully. This was not just about truth now, it was about trust. And trust was harder to earn than victory. Finally, the leader with mirror eyes spoke. His voice was slower now. "We have heard what you said. We will speak among ourselves. You will return." "To your room," Kyle nodded. "I'll wait." As he left the room, one of the younger aliens, the one who had asked about Earth's goal, followed him a short distance. He was not part of the guard team. "Marine," the alien said, walking beside him. "You are not what I thought a human would be." Kyle looked at him. "Good," the alien smiled. "Maybe that's what the galaxy needs, a surprise." Kyle gave a small smile back. "Maybe it does." They reached his room again. The door closed behind him. Alone, Kyle sat back on the floor. He didn't know what the council would decide. But he had done his part. He had spoken for Earth. Now, the galaxy would have to decide what to do with the truth. The lights in Kyle's room dimmed again. It had been hours since the second meeting. No one had come to speak with him. He had no way of knowing what the alien leaders were saying. But he could guess they were afraid. Not just of Earth, but of what Earth's rise might mean for their control. Kyle leaned back against the cold wall. He closed his eyes and let his thoughts wander. He thought of the faces of the people he had served with, the men and women who had fought beside him on Mars, the ones who never made it back. He thought about why he joined the Marines in the first place. Not for medals, not for orders. He joined to protect. That had never changed. The door opened without sound. A tall alien stood there. This one had smooth white skin and dark, deep eyes. It was not a guard or a diplomat. It wore simple clothes and had no weapons. "I am Yaren," the alien said. Kyle looked up. "You're not security." "I'm not. I study humans." "I asked to meet you." Kyle stood slowly. "All right, you came all this way. What do you want to know?" Yaren stepped inside. The door stayed open. "Why do humans fight so hard? Even when the odds are bad, even when no one is watching?" Kyle thought about it. "Because we know how fast things can be taken. Freedom, family, a place to call home. We fight so the next person doesn't have to." Yaren nodded. "Some think your people are dangerous, that Earth wants power." "We're dangerous when we have to be," Kyle said. "But not because we want power. We just don't want to be helpless again." The alien studied him for a moment, then left without another word. Kyle sat down again. He didn't know if that talk had helped or hurt his mission. But at least it was honest. Later, a loud alarm echoed through the station. Kyle jumped to his feet. Red lights flashed in the hallway. He heard shouting, some in alien tongues, some in English. The door to his room opened again, this time with force. A Concord guard rushed in. "You must come, now. What's going on?" Kyle asked. "Attackers, unknown origin, breach in Sector 6. Kyle followed without a word. The halls were filled with panic. Some delegates were being rushed to safe rooms. Guards ran in every direction. The station shook slightly under their feet. Explosions. Someone had placed charges inside the spire. As they reached a larger chamber, they heard weapons fire. Small flashes of light lit the hallway. Kyle moved forward before the guards could stop him. "What are you doing?" One guard shouted. "I've trained for this," Kyle said. "You want to save lives?" "Let me help." The guards looked unsure, but one of them nodded. Kyle picked up a fallen weapon from the floor. It was alien tech, but he had trained with similar tools. He checked it quickly and moved down the hall. They found 3 attackers in black armor trying to force a sealed door. Inside were several delegates. Kyle didn't wait. He aimed and fired. 2 shots hit. 1 attacker went down. The others turned and opened fire. Kyle rolled to cover. The guards joined him, shooting from behind the walls. A sharp pain hit Kyle's side. One of the blasts had grazed him, but he kept going. He moved to the other side, fired again, and took down the second attacker. The last one tried to run, but Kyle tackled him to the ground. After a short fight, the guard team secured the attacker. Kyle stood, breathing hard. The wound on his side was bleeding, but not deep. A voice came through the station speakers. Security. Breach controlled. All personnel return to safe zones. Medical teams are being deployed. Kyle leaned against the wall. The guards looked at him with new eyes. You saved them, one said. I did my job, Kyle replied. Soon, medical staff arrived. One alien medic wrapped Kyle's side in a soft bandage. You should rest. I will, Kyle said. Later, he was taken to the main hall again, this time not as a speaker, but as a hero. The council had gathered once more. This meeting was different. The room was quiet, but not tense. There was a kind of respect in the air now. The alien with the mirror eyes stood. You fought to protect us even when you did not have to. Why? Kyle answered simply. Because that's what we do. You asked what kind of people humans are. You just saw it, another alien spoke. You could have stayed in your room. You didn't. That says more than words. Yaren stepped forward from the back of the room. Perhaps this is what the Concord needs, not just more voices, but people who act. There were quiet talks between the leaders. Some nodded, a few still looked unsure, but the room no longer saw Kyle as just a soldier. They saw him as something more. Finally, the alien with the crystal in his chest said, The Concord will consider your world's place among us. Until then, we offer you our thanks. Kyle gave a short nod. He was tired. He was hurt. But he had done what he came to do. That night in his room, Kyle looked out through the small window they finally gave him. The stars outside looked the same, but something had changed. He had shown them who humans were. Now the galaxy had to decide if they were ready for it. Kyle woke early the next day. His side still hurt, but the pain was dull now. He got dressed slowly and looked at the new window in his room. Stars hung in space like tiny lights. He wondered how many of those stars had life around them. How many of them had people like him, ready to fight for what they believed in. There was a soft knock at the door. It opened before he answered. Yaren stepped in again. The alien scholar looked tired, but there was a calm look on his face. The council meets again today, Yaren said. They will speak about your world, Kyle nodded. Good. Yaren hesitated. Some still fear your people, even after what you did. That's their choice, Kyle said. Fear doesn't change the truth. Yaren gave a small nod. I believe you helped? More than you know. Later, Kyle was brought to a new chamber. It was not the usual council room. This one was larger, with open walls and a clear view of space. There were hundreds of aliens present. Leaders, officers, diplomats, and watchers. From many worlds, the chairs were full. Everyone had come. Kyle was led to a raised platform. He stood alone. He could feel their eyes on him, watching, judging, waiting. The leader with mirror eyes spoke first. Today we speak of Earth, a world once unknown, now seen in full light. Another leader spoke next. Some say Earth is too bold, that humans move too fast, that their strength will bring conflict. A third voice rose. Others say Earth brings balance, that humans bring fire, but also warmth. The debate began. One by one, the voices shared thoughts. Some were harsh, some were kind. A few still doubted Earth's role in the galaxy, but more and more spoke of what Kyle had done, of the lives saved, of the actions that matched his words. Kyle stood silently. He did not speak unless asked. He let them speak for themselves. After nearly an hour, the room fell quiet. Yaren stepped forward. Many worlds joined the Concord after long talks and many trials. Earth came in a different way. Their first meeting was not words. It was action. Not just war, but honor. Yaren turned to face the leaders. We have feared change before, and each time that fear slowed our growth. Maybe Earth is not a threat. Maybe it is a sign that the galaxy is waking up again. There was a long pause. The leader with the crystal in his chest spoke at last. We will vote now. Each world shall decide if Earth is to join us. Not as a child, but as an equal. One by one, the votes were cast. A soft chime followed each answer. Kyle could not tell what they meant. He simply waited. At last, The final chime rang. The mirror-eyed leader stood. By vote of the council, Earth is welcomed into the Concord. They will hold a seat. Their voice will be heard. Kyle did not smile. He simply gave a respectful nod. This was not a victory to cheer. It was a duty accepted. Later, Kyle was taken to a smaller room. Several of the council members met him there. One of them handed him a thin silver disc. It was the symbol of Concord membership. "This is for your people," the alien said. "Not just your leaders, for all." Kyle took it carefully. "Thank you, I'll deliver it myself." They offered him transport. But he refused. "Earth has its own way. I came alone. I'll leave the same." As Kyle walked through the halls of the station, many aliens watched him pass. This time there was no fear in their eyes. There was respect. A few even nodded to him. He nodded back. Before he reached the dock, Yarn caught up with him. "Will we see you again, Kyle?" Kyle paused. "Probably." "Earth's not done yet," Yarn smiled gently. "Good, the galaxy is changing. It's better when someone like you is part of that change." Kyle looked out the airlock window. His ship was waiting. It was not big, not shiny, just fast, strong, and quiet, like Earth. "Tell them we're ready to listen," Kyle said, "but we're also ready to speak." "I will," Yarn said. Kyle stepped into the ship and sealed the hatch. The engines warmed up. The station slowly drifted away in the window. He set the course for home. The stars were bright again. And now they were a little closer. Back on Earth, the message arrived hours before he did. The council's decision was shared. People in cities and small towns gathered to listen. On space stations and on colonies, the news spread fast. Earth was no longer alone. When Kyle landed, he stepped out into the early morning sun. A small group waited for him, leaders, soldiers, and families. They clapped as he walked past, but Kyle only nodded. One young girl stepped forward. She held a small flag with the Earth symbol on it. She looked up at him. "Did they listen to you?" she asked. Kyle looked down and smiled. "Yes, and now they'll listen to you too." He handed her the silver disc. Her eyes grew wide. "This is ours now," he said. She held it close. "Thank you." Kyle turned and looked at the sky. Somewhere up there, the Concorde was watching and waiting. He took a deep breath. The mission was not over. It was just beginning. Kyle sat quietly in the small room the government had given him. The walls were plain, the lights low. He did not need much. Just space to think. Since returning to Earth, he had met many people. Politicians, officers, reporters. They all asked the same thing. What was it like out there? What will happen next? He never gave them long answers. He had seen more than most. He had watched alien leaders argue and watched them vote. He had seen fear, strength, and change. But Earth did not need big words now. Earth needed to get ready. A message arrived on his screen. It was from the Concorde, a short note. 4 words. "We request your help." Kyle read it twice. Then he stood up. By the next day, he was back at the launch site. A new ship was waiting. This one had Earth markings on the side, along with the Concorde seal. It was the first of its kind, built with both human and alien design. Faster, stronger, more balanced. A woman in uniform approached him. Her name tag read, Ava Burns. She was young, serious, and calm. "Captain Kyle," she said. "I've been assigned as your second officer." "Just Kyle," he said. "And I didn't know I had a ship." "You do now," Ava replied. "And a team." 10 of us. Handpicked Earth's first joint mission. Concorde gave us a task. Find out what caused the attack on the station. Kyle nodded. He remembered the attackers. Fast, silent, deadly. Not part of any Concorde world. That meant someone out there was planning something in the dark. They boarded the ship. It was clean and sharp. Every corner had a purpose. Every system worked smooth. He met the team. 5 humans, 5 aliens. Each one chosen for skill, not politics. The ship launched before sunrise. As the Earth fell away behind them, Kyle felt that familiar calm return. Out here, there was no noise. Just the truth of space. Their mission led them to the edge of Concord space, a quiet zone with no major colonies. But recent signals showed something odd: ships vanishing, energy spikes. Silent systems. Someone was moving out here after 3 days. They found a wreck, a Concord scout ship. Burned and broken, no life signs. Ava scanned the area. No distress call, she said. Looks like they were hit fast. One of the alien crew, a tall being named Drex, added, "The damage is not from any known weapon." Kyle studied the screen. They wanted to test something. And they didn't care who died. They moved on. Another day passed. Then they found it, a small moon with strange readings. Power signals deep below the surface. No known base in the records. "This might be it," Kyle said. "Let's go." They landed the ship behind a ridge, quiet and unseen. The team geared up. They wore light armor, enough for protection but not heavy. They moved together. Ava at his side, Drex behind. Each step silent, they entered a tunnel cut into the rock. Inside, they found metal walls and lights. The base was real, and someone had built it without telling the Concord. "Whoever made this didn't want it found," Ava said. They reached a large door. Kyle gave a signal. 2 team members set small charges and backed away. The door blew open with a flash. Inside was a control room and several figures, not aliens, not humans. Something else. Tall, thin, with smooth dark skin and sharp eyes. They turned fast, pulling weapons. Kyle dropped to the ground and fired. Ava followed. The room became a blur of sound and light. The team moved with skill. Each member knew their role. Kyle took cover and aimed carefully. 2 of the enemy went down. Drex slammed another into the wall. In seconds it was over. 1 enemy still breathed. Kyle knelt beside it. "Who are you?" "Why attack the Concord?" the being hissed. "You are blind. The Concord is weak. The galaxy needs order. We bring it." "You kill without warning," Kyle said. "We prepare for what is coming. You will see." The being died before saying more. Ava looked at Kyle. "What do you think they meant?" "Someone else is coming," Kyle said. And these ones thought they had to take control before it happened. They searched the base, plans, data, ship designs, all hidden from the Concord. They sent the files back to the main station. The mission was a success. But it was also a warning. On the way back, the crew was quiet. Even the alien members stayed still. Drex spoke softly. "If they were right, then we are not ready." "We will be," Kyle said. "We don't run, we prepare." They reached the station after 5 days. The Concord leaders met them. Kyle handed over the data. He explained what they saw, the strange enemy, the hidden weapons, the words spoken before death. The leaders looked at each other with worry. One of them, a short alien with bright red skin, said, "If this threat grows, we must unite faster." Kyle looked at the group. "Then stop wasting time, work together, train together, or this galaxy will fall alone." They listened. "This time, no." One argued. Kyle returned to the ship. Ava stood at the door. "You think we'll be sent back out?" she asked. "Yes," Kyle said. "This was just the start," she smiled. "Then let's make sure we're ready," Kyle nodded. He looked out the window. Stars filled the sky. Some were quiet. Some were not, and Earth had just taken its first step into all of them. The ship moved through space like a quiet shadow. Kyle stood at the front window, arms crossed, watching the stars. Each one held a secret. Each one might be a warning. He did not trust the silence anymore. The Concord had sent a new message. More outposts had gone dark. 2 colonies stopped sending signals. Something was happening, and it was spreading. Kyle and his team were called again. This time, the mission was simple. Find the threat. Stop it. Ava entered the room. Her face was calm, but her voice was firm. "We're near the last colony that went dark. Sensors are picking up strange readings. Power surges, movement, no response from inside." Kyle nodded. "Gear up, all of us." The team moved fast. 10 members, 5 humans, 5 aliens. Each one ready. They landed on the colony's surface. It was cold, dry, and dark. Buildings stood tall, but the lights were out. No wind. No sound. They stepped into the colony center. Streets were empty, shops untouched, doors open. It looked like the people had vanished in seconds. No signs of struggle, Drex said. His eyes scanned everything. No blood, no blast marks. Then where did they go? Ava asked. Kyle stopped in. Front of a large tower, it had power. A low hum came from inside. In there, he said. The team moved in. The elevator worked. They reached the top floor, a control room. And finally, a sign of life. One person sat in a chair. A man, human eyes. Wide, still breathing. Kyle approached. Hey, you're safe now. What happened? The man did not blink. His voice was slow. They came through the dark, not ships. Not people, shadows. They took everyone. Ava touched his wrist. His pulse is fast. Fear level high. Did they speak? Kyle asked. The man shook his head. Only noise, cold noise, like a scream with no mouth. Suddenly, the room lights flickered. The building shook. Something was outside. Kyle gave orders fast. Defensive positions. Don't fire unless needed. The window broke open with a crack. A shape moved in. Dark, fast. It did not look like a person. Long arms. No face. Just a thin shape of shadow. One of the alien crew, Yala, raised her weapon. The thing rushed her. She fired, but the shots passed through. Kyle grabbed his pulse rifle and aimed. Use heat rounds. Fire. The team switched settings. Heat rounds. Flared red, they fired together. The shadow screamed. This time, a real sound. Then it vanished into smoke. We need to leave, Ava said. Now. Kyle helped the human man stand. We take him. The others may still be alive. We'll find out where they went. They ran back to the ship. More shapes moved in the streets. They were fast, silent, but afraid of the heat rounds. The team fought while retreating. Drex blocked. One with his shield. Ava covered the back. They reached the ship and took off. The colony fell behind them. Back in orbit, the rescued man finally rested. He slept under watch. Kyle met with the team. What were those things? One asked. We don't know, Kyle said. But they're not like anything we've seen. Ava pulled. Up the scans. They leave no energy trail, no clear form. Like living smoke? But they respond to heat. They react to pain. Drex added, they fear fire? Then we use that, Kyle said. Dr. Concord sent another message. They had seen the data. More teams were being prepared. Earth and other worlds were now working together. Sharing tech, training together. Kyle's mission had started something, but the enemy was already moving. 2 more systems were attacked. Only pieces were left behind. The Concord called a meeting. This time, Kyle and his team joined in person. The chamber was full. All voices were tense. Fear had returned. Kyle stood and faced them. We've met the threat. It is fast, smart, and unknown, but it is not magic. It can be hurt. It can be stopped? But only if we fight as one alien leader spoke. Why do you speak as if you are sure? Kyle looked at him. Because I've seen what happens when no one fights back. And I've seen what happens when they do. The room was quiet. Another leader spoke. What do you suggest? Strike first? Kyle said. Track the shadows, follow the trail, burn their nests. The Concord agreed. A fleet was formed. Earth ships led the center. Alien ships guarded the sides. Kyle's ship took the front. The mission was clear. Find the source. Stop the threat. It took 4 days to trace the signals. One hidden system, no name, no records, just an empty star. With one dark planet, the fleet arrived. Orbit was clear. No defenses, too quiet. They're waiting for us, Ava said. Then we won't make them wait long, Kyle replied. The fleet began the attack. Ships fired heat rounds, plasma bursts, light, bombs. The planet shook. The ground split, and then they came. Shadows rose like smoke from the cracks, hundreds, maybe more. They flew toward the ships, not in ships, just by force. Like dark birds, the battle began. Kyle's team launched fighters. Every pilot flew hard. Every shot counted, the shadows screamed in fire. But they kept coming. Kyle's ship landed on the surface. He led his team into the dark. The planet was cold and dead. But deep below, they found a core, a living center. A pulse of shadow. This is where they're born, Drex said. Then we ended here, Kyle said. They placed bombs. Big ones. Heat cores with pressure fuses. Enough to burn a hole through a moon. The team escaped just in time. The ship flew up. The bombs dropped. The planet cracked. The shadows screamed. And then they stopped. Silence. Kyle watched the world break from orbit. No cheers, just the sound of breathing. The Concorde sent a final message. The threat was gone. For now. Kyle turned to Ava. We stopped them. We slowed them, she said. Others may come. He nodded. Then we'll be ready. The stars waited. And Earth was now part of that waiting light.